you guys. I'm Ariana with Fresh Pair of Eyes. How are you?
Good.
Well,
Good.
how are you?
Pretty good. So, how was it like to come back for season 2?
Well, my business manager is very happy. No, audiences really dug season 1 in a way that I don't know if any of us really expected. I was also impressed with how many Black folks were watching the show and seemed to dig it. It's been a wonderful response. X shared with us on a group thread something about someone surviving cancer and how the show and how Dori has really changed the healing process for them. And I think you can't ask for anything better than that, than to try to make people laugh at probably what has been the worst time in many people's lives over the last 3 years in the pandemic and coming in and out of it. So it's been a huge blessing, and we're all very, very excited to be together again.
Did you feel more comfortable with your characters this time around?
Yes, I felt I knew who she was even more. There's more storylines of Dori. There's some kind of like mix matching that you'll see with her and Wesley a few times, which I feel is like an unlikely pairing, but makes for great comedy. So yeah, I felt more confident who Dori was and who all the other characters were as well. And I feel like that's the blessing of having additional episodes, which we're so grateful for NBC to allow us to do that, because you can build more on the characters by just having more time.
Yeah, and I noticed this season, you guys were way more candid with social topics like layoffs, abortion, and stuff. Like, I was even surprised that you guys are allowed to say abortion on network TV, even though that's so sad because that's a just reality of life. How was it like to kind of explore these unfortunately taboo topics?
Well, I think, Tye, you want to take it?
Yeah, sure. I'll say it's always fun, and I don't know if fun is the right adjective to say, but it is fun to be able to tackle topics that might be a little bit risque in a comedic manner. So we are coming from a position where we're not necessarily taking a position on every things like the letter episode or what was the one in episode 6 of season 1, the commercial episode. So we're not always in a position, but it is fun to be able to kind of from the Spitzer world attack these issues in a comedic way. So it just makes people think, and I think that's part of one of the best parts about our show is that we do say these things, we do have commentary, and we do it in a funny way. So we hope that the audience continues to enjoy it too, because we surely enjoy shooting it.
Yeah, and the abortion episode was obviously, it had its light moments because it's a 20-minute comedy, but it was also kind of heavy. What was it like to shoot that episode?
It was exciting. I mean, being a woman who is in America and someone who is very much so pro-choice, I was just so excited to be able to tackle that in a comedic way, to be able to play with Harry and with Anna, to also see the different layers of the POVs from all different generations, from Gen Z to millennial to Gen X, and to see how different we are, but that at some point we have to reach a common ground, which is that everybody is flawed. We all have nuance. And I don't think there's a right or right. It's just about objectively what is best for everybody. So I'm so excited for people to see us go on that journey. And I think it's very reflective of where America is as far as like trying to have polarizing differences. It's like, well, when we get down to brass tacks, what's the best thing for everybody? And we get to it. We get to it in this episode.
Yeah, in X, Dori in this episode actually kind of speaks out against her boss. She writes a letter. She finally kind of lets her have it, even though you've in the past been like such a yes character of Catherine and very supportive. Could you relate to that? As do you view yourself as outspoken in different situations and things like that?
I will say that I was raised to speak up when I felt that it was necessary. And like Dori, I don't need an army. Although you will see that, it's just kind of like I will go to whoever, and I'm very direct. But I feel when you're direct, it doesn't mean disrespect, right? That's my motto. Like I can just be direct, but still be kind. I can still say what I mean and mean what I say, but I can still have a level of respect for the person I'm talking to. So yeah. So when Dori did that, I was so excited because I felt like this is something that a Black woman would do, someone that would step up and be like, you need to have a position, especially if you're passionate about something that greatly affects you personally, like reproductive rights.
Yeah, speaking of being Black, we're literally all Black within this conversation, and you were mentioning the feedback from Black people on the show. What I like about the show is I feel like a lot of times in comedies is that if there is a Black cast member, it's either never mentioned or it's just, oh, for this special episode, they're going to talk about police brutality, and then it's never mentioned again. What is it like to be on a show where this isn't obviously the only reason you're on the show, but it's not glossed over either? And it does affect your point of view, because it does affect your point of view as an actor and just a human being.
Well, I'll let us all chime in, but what I like is we don't address it, but I think we have the liberty of not addressing our skin color or in our ethnicity because there's three of us. When you're of one, they tend to do that police brutality episode and then move on and never mention it again. It's nice to have people of color that you work with, that you come from various backgrounds. So we're not all just like similar. We have the same experience, but it's nice to have that unique experience in common. And we have definitely gone to war with each other, not with each other, but for each other, and gone to bat for each other, and had this with things that we've experienced within the show. But I think it's just important to have that, and then if that episode ever comes up, it won't feel like it's just taboo. It won't feel like it's just a topical episode. It's because it's three of us, and you'll have to incorporate all three of us because half of our cast is Black, which you don't typically see in this type of workplace comedy, especially this would be in a diner comedy. You might see this in a diner comedy. Cyrus is the manager, and then there's like, Catherine is she owns several of them, and she pops in, and I don't know, or something like that. But it's nice to see this in the C-suite. I just pitched a whole nother idea, but it's not.
Yeah, and then your pitch, I will be the chef. I want to cook. Period.
It's just nice to have that experience and be able to share this common ground with my castmates.
Yes. What about you guys? If you wanted to add anything onto that.
Well, what's also very, very important to remember is I don't think any of the characters that the three of us read for said Black. And that was very, very important, that casting. For in my case, Jennifer McNamara Shroff and Trey Lawson in New York, Grace Wu, Brian Dorfman in LA, who have taken care of so many of us on this show, are so open to seeing as many people as possible to see who can fill the essence of these characters. And it just so happened that three Black people ended up housing them. And therefore, the writers have had to take that on. And sometimes we push them to go further. Sometimes it's, be careful how far you're going. And that is part of the, the human connection of being a comedy actor with comedy writers on a network show. There's a lot of thoughts, but everybody's intentions are really, really aligned to making sure that all of our voices are heard and that we're not stereotypes or the essence of just these Black people who might have been. It is us playing these parts. And that's really, really, really nice and new.
It is new and very refreshing, and the show's very relatable. I mentioned this before when I was talking to you guys, especially Tye, because I went to Michigan too. I'm from Detroit, and my brother works for GM. So it's just a very relatable, hilarious show. So thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I'll talk to you for season 3. I'm already putting it out there, and I'll talk to you about your future projects as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ariana.
Awesome. You have a great one. Thank you.
You too. Bye.